Hey guys, this is Praveen Dabas, your host on MMA India show with J-Rock, our in-house predictor. I'm traveling right now, so sorry we're doing this. I'm doing this from the car, and J-Rock is in the studio. So J-Rock, this is UFC 283 predictions. It's a pretty good card. Shall we start with Johnny Walker versus Paul Craig? What are the odds?
So Johnny Walker is 1.58 and Paul Craig is 2.30.
And I think our favorite is Johnny Walker, though I do feel Paul Craig can possibly pull something out of the hat for this.
Absolutely. Paul Craig is known for this. He's always down and somehow he gets a triangle choke or, knee bar. He's a jiu-jitsu master. Because this is one of the fight that could go anywhere because of the fight IQ of Johnny Walker. He doesn't use it that much. So if the fight goes to the ground at any point of time, it's best for Johnny Walker to avoid it. If he does go to the ground with Paul Craig, I think Paul Craig can pull something up and submit Johnny Walker. I think the road to victory for Johnny Walker would be to keep it standing. Even when he knocks him down, I don't think he should go down gushing too fast after Paul Craig. Maybe bringing him up to his feet and try fighting there. So there are the best chances for him.
Yeah. So, it's a very unpredictable fight. So I can't even say the fight will go over 1.5 rounds. And that's
absolutely. Absolutely.
Right? So it's kind of I would avoid, putting anything on this prediction. Let's just say that.
Yeah.
From my, what was the odds for Paul Craig, you said?
2.30.
And for Johnny Walker?
1.58.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's not that, much that you would take a big risk. But then again, I think Paul Craig could be interesting. But Johnny Walker wants to make a strong comeback. So let's see. But I think it's going to be a good fight. And the next fight is Jessica Andrade versus who was she fighting?
Lauren Murphy.
Yeah, Lauren Murphy. So that's going to be a good fight as well. I think it's a good bump up for Murphy.
Yeah.
In terms of competition. And what are the odds for that?
So this is a lopsided odd. Jessica Andrade is 1.18 and Lauren Murphy at 4.50.
Yeah, I don't see Murphy winning. I think Andrade is too strong unless something untowards happened.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the odds reflect rightly how the fight should go because Jessica. So Jessica Andrade were always dominant at 135 and this fight is right now at 125 pounds. So she's just going to be too much stronger, too much faster. And I just think that Jessica Andrade is going to, destroy Lauren Murphy.
Yeah, pretty much dominate.
Yeah.
That's not much to talk about in that fight. Let's move to the next one.
Yeah.
Which is the next fight? Is it? It's right. So, what are the odds for Gilbert Burns and Neil Magny?
So, Gilbert Burns is at 1.20 and Neil Magny is at 4.20. So, another lopsided odds here.
Yeah. Again, I think. Yeah. Again, I feel I don't feel Neil Magny has sometimes pulled out some surprises, but I think Gilbert Burns is too
strong.
Strong.
Yeah.
The only way. Go ahead.
So the only way last fight Neil Magny surprised everyone when he submitted Daniel Rodriguez in the second round. But I think that was one off. Gilbert Burns is no Daniel Rodriguez. He's very tough fighter. Although he has won only one of his last 3 fights. But it has to be said that the competition was way too much because in his last 3 fights he fought against champion Kamaru Usman. Then he defeated Stephen Thompson, and then he lost his last fight to Khamzat Chimaev. So even though he has lost 2 of his last 3 fights, the competition was way too high. And I just think that Burns is getting
that was a whole different competition level. So I think this is Gilbert's fight to lose.
Yeah, absolutely.
Unless unless let's say Neil Magny pulls out like a Leon Edwards.
Yeah, but I just don't see that happening.
Something which, it's hard to see, and you can never see that happen, right? It's one of those unpredictable things. So that's the only kind of way that we see. And so 120 again,
it's just not worth putting.
Yeah, and what about the fight going over 1.5 rounds? What's the
that is at around 1.43.
Okay, so slightly better, I would say.
And I think this is one of those odds that might actually hit, because Neil Magny, even though he has no shot at winning this fight, he's not that low level of a fighter that he's just going to get, steamrolled by
exactly.
Birds.
Exactly. He's not going to get steamrolled, exactly.
Yeah.
He's a good fighter. So I think that is an interesting prediction, 1.43.
Yeah, that's the only value.
That's what I would probably go with. Yeah, that's the only kind of value. The next fight is Figueiredo versus Moreno, right?
Yeah.
And
even odds.
Yeah, it's even odds.
Yeah.
And what are those odds?
1.90.
I would probably put mine on Figueiredo.
Same here. Absolutely. Because many fighters, actually, if we know that James Cruz was one of the coaches for Moreno, and just 3 weeks before the fight, UFC banned every fighter from training under James Krause. And so just 3 weeks before the fight, Moreno had to look for a new coach and totally different management. So I think that will play into this fight, because at such short notice, changing entire training camp, moving towns, I just don't think that it will have good effect mentally on Moreno. And Figueiredo is an elite fighter. All the 3 fights, except for the second fight where he lost via submission, all the 3 fights were very close. And in last fight, he came very close to knocking out Moreno as well.
Yeah.
So I just think that he will be picking up on that momentum going into the fight.
Going into this fight, yeah. So I think it would be a good prediction to make on Figueiredo.
Yes.
Now the title fight is Glover Teixeira versus Jamahal Hill, right?
Yeah.
And what are the odds on that?
So here also the odds are almost even. Jamahal Hill has 1.80 and Teixeira is at 2.00.
So we are going to go with Teixeira.
Absolutely.
Right, and I think that would be, again another strong comeback again for him. You know, after his win over upset win. Well, if you want to call it upset. Over Blachowicz and getting the title.
Yeah.
So I think it's Teixeira has, that all round, both standing and ground game, which is going to be pretty strong. So Jamahal Hill is the younger guy, right? Not discount that sometimes, which is why correct? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can. I think Teixeira has been an underdog in 7 of his last 6 fights, and he has won almost all of them except for Jiri Prochazka. But we all know how that fight went. And if it wasn't for the very last second submission, he most probably would have won that fight as well.
And of course, we were both there for that fight.
Yeah.
And that was a really, really tough fight. I saw that, from the second row. And that was a tough, really amazing fight.
Yeah.
So, Glover Teixeira still has a lot in the tank. One can see that. He's not somebody who's at the fag end of his career.
Absolutely.
And he is one of the older fighters, but he still has a lot left in the tank.
And one of the important points to remember is that Glover Teixeira is training with Alex Pereira, who is an excellent kickboxer, and Jamahal Hill is a kickboxer with great striking. So I think he is at a perfect training partner to prepare for Jamahal Hill.
Yeah.
So I think he has all the bases covered. I think in this fight, all Teixeira has to do is just not play into his game plan. That is pure striking. And I feel that even if the fight goes striking, he might get jabbed once or twice, even hurt maybe. But down the line in 3rd or 4th round, I feel we will see a submission attempt from Teixeira, and I think Hill won't be able to come out of it. I think that's how it ends.
Okay, so what is the odds on submission win for Teixeira?
Yeah, so the odds are not that great. It's just 2.30 because the bookies are also predicting that it might end in certain way. So
yeah, because I thought it would be something like 4 or 5. Then it would be
no,
more.
it's just 2.30.
Yeah. Okay. Well, decent. So we are going to go with Teixeira winning.
Yeah.
And I think those are the odds to go for.
Another great way to look at this fight is that during the live betting, I think probably in the first round, Jamahal Hill would appear totally dominant and the odds will be, up and down. So I guess when Teixeira is the highest, I think that's when people should put their, value on
Teixeira.
Yeah, because
Hill will come. What are the odds for over 1.5 or over 2.5 rounds?
So 2.5 round is around 1.80, which is not very different from directly picking either fighter.
Yeah.
But again, you never know because Teixeira might just pull a submission in the second round itself.
Yeah.
Like we did in Jan Blachowicz fight.
Yeah.
Yeah. So even we are not safe in the over 1.5, over 2.5.
Well, okay. So that's Teixeira. And, I wouldn't say safe. Nothing is safe.
Yeah.
Nothing is safe in predictions. So, but that is what we will probably go with. And that was the roundup for UFC 283. Again, thank you all for tuning in. It was great chatting with everybody. Sorry, I'm doing this week's show from the car, but I'm traveling, and that's how it is. Hope to be back in the studio with J-Rock next week and talk to all of you again. Take care. Praveen Dabas signing out, and J-Rock, take care. Cheers.